17 and a half hours, 110 points on average. And some kids went up like 300 points. That's 6.34 points an hour. We were so happy with those results. So if you want to prep for the digital SAT, let us know. Happy to help. We got a lot of prep ready to go for it. Hey, I'm Alyssa, the college expert. I've been helping kids get into college since 2006. I recently reread Jeffrey Selingo's awesome book, Who Gets In and Why. So I've had this book for a while. I read it every once in a while. I'm one of those people who rereads books. I'm like, oh, I bet there's more in there that I could get another time. So I reread the book, and I was really taken with the number of statistics that he gives that I felt like were, wow, like eye-popping. If I had known that, I would have made a different series of choices, you know? And before I start, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to turn on notifications. Okay. So who gets in and why? Jeffrey Selingo. So a little bit about Jeffrey Selingo. He's a journalist, he's a reporter, and he's been writing for basically 20 years for the Washington Post, New York Times, Atlantic, Wall Street Journal, like all the big heavy hitters. And he was like, I want to understand how college admissions works, what decisions the admissions officers are making, how the process works, what kinds of things they say, all that stuff. And I want to see how it's different at different kinds of schools. So he worked with 3 different schools, each one representing kind of a major type. He worked with Emory, which is a major urban private university, then University of Washington, which is a state flagship public university because 80% of students attend a public university, which another stat I was surprised at, and Davidson, which is a small liberal arts college. And he wanted to understand how the admissions process and looking at applicants was both the same and different across those 3. First, I'm going to talk about choosing a college. 2 things that I thought were interesting. 1, don't stress about your major because fewer than 1/3 of college graduates work in jobs related to their majors. Mind blown. So as you know, if you followed me for a long time, I have a master's degree in voice and opera. I was trained as an opera singer and was a professional opera singer for 13 years. I am now not an opera singer. So this stat is definitely true for me. Second, research shows nothing influences a student's decision about where to enroll as much as a campus visit. Mind blown. So, if you are a parent and you're trying to convince your kid that a certain college is right for them, taking them on a campus visit could be a good plan. If you've gotten accepted to a bunch of different colleges and you're trying to decide which one is best, do the campus visit. If possible, don't just walk around and do a tour. Try to stay with an undergraduate. When I was an undergrad at Haverford, we had these things called specs, which are prospective students. And they would come and they would basically shadow a freshman or a sophomore, go to all their classes with them, sleep on the floor of their dorm room, hang out with them at parties, and just kind of see what the vibe was like. Let's talk about legacy. So you've probably heard a lot about legacy. One stat that I've heard is that at Columbia, 60% of admitted students are legacy students. 10% are athletes. So basically, if you get into Columbia and you're neither legacy nor athlete, you were in that last 30% of students, which is crazy. How hard is that to get in? But let's talk about legacy at Harvard. So the acceptance rate for athletes, legacy, and the dean's interest list, which are people related to top donors, is 41%. Everybody else, the acceptance rate, 4.2. So they have a 10 times higher acceptance rate. Athletes, legacies, and people related to top donors. I mean, we knew it was good, right? But I didn't know it was that good. 10 times? That's insane. Let's talk about sports. So a lot of parents get their kids involved in sports young, and they're like, this is going to get my kid into college for free. My kid's going to be able to play for NCAA, and they're going to get lots of money. Well, what you might not know is that about 2% of students who participate in high school sports actually receive scholarships. And I cannot tell you how many students I have met who have said, oh, I don't need to study. I'm going to get a baseball scholarship. I'm going to get a football scholarship. Now I am armed with a number to say to them, are you in the top 2%? And also remember, if you are likely to get a scholarship, you're probably being scouted. So if nobody has been in touch with you and you are not being scouted, do not expect to be getting that scholarship. But here's a place that sports does make a difference. So if you look at Amherst, for instance, about 32%, that's almost a third, of admission spots go to athletes who are admitted at a much higher rate than people with the same qualifications who are not athletes. So by making so much room for so many athletes, it's hard for everybody else to get in because only 66% of spots are left for people who aren't athletes. Getting in could be easier, but don't plan to get a scholarship. So today we talked about Jeffrey Selingo's book, Who Gets In and Why, and all the statistics that are relevant from it that you can think about when you're thinking about applying to college. So I'm curious, what statistics particularly resonated with you? What things did we say today that you were like, oh my God, that is not what I expected at all? And what things were you like, yup, I knew that? Leave me a comment and let me know. There's nothing I enjoy more than seeing people's reactions to the videos. All right, I'll see you next time.